Dear students, welcome to EPG Pathashala. I am Dr. T. Sesh Sai, Associate Professor of Philosophy, retired, National College, Tiruchirappalli. Today we are going to see in the course Indian Culture, the paper on Indian religion and philosophy, especially the module Bhakti Vedanta of Vallabha and Sri Krishna Chaitanya. Vallabha and Sri Krishna Chaitanya, they belong to the Bhakti school of philosophy. Both are called Neo-Vedantists and they emphasize on love towards the Lord and service towards the Lord. Both of them agree that Sri Krishna is the ultimate reality and ultimate goal to be achieved. The path to attain the feet of Lord Krishna is only bhakti or intense love towards Sri Krishna. Now let us see the objectives of this paper. Introduction: to understand the nature of Supreme Reality, to know the souls and its kinds, to know the significance of moksha and bhakti marga, to understand the concept of achintya bheda bheda, to know the followers of Chaitanya. In the summary, we conclude that both belong to Bhakti school of Vedanta and both emphasize that love is the ultimate path to reach moksha or to reach the feet of Lord Krishna. Acharya Vallabha, a Telugu Brahman, was born in 1473. Tradition says that he developed the views of Vishnu Swami. His view is known as Shuddhadvaita or pure non-dualism, unsoiled by Maya. He has written a commentary on the Brahma Sutra called Anubhashya, which was completed by his son Vittalanatha, which is the basic text of Shuddhadvaita. Vallabha also commented on the Bhagavata called Subodhini. There are also parts of Vallabha's commentaries on Jaimini's Mimamsa Sutra and the Bhagavata. Another important work of his is Tattvartha Deepa Nibandha with his own glass Prakasha. His son Vittalanatha wrote Vidvan Mandana. Purushottama has commented on Anubhashya in his Bhashya Pariksha. Gopeshwara has commented on this in his Rashmi and on the Subodhini and Vidvan Mandana in his Suvarna Sutra. The other famous works of this school are Shuddhadvaita Martanda of Giridhara and Prameya Ratnarnava of Balakrishna Bhatta. Vallabha founded a Krishna cult. This is Vallabha's photograph, and Krishna Gopala is the supreme Brahman in his system. But the relation between Brahman and the world is not a relation of difference cum non-difference, but one of pure non-difference. He calls it pure in order to distinguish his view from that of Shankara, which is Kevala Advaita. In his opinion, Shankara Advaita is impure insofar as it has to depend on Maya to explain the world. It is also known as Rudra Sampradaya. On the contrary, Shuddhadvaita follows Pushti Marga. Pushti means the grace of God which dawns through devotion and is the cause of liberation. Vallabha, like other Vaishnava saints, accept the Prasthanatrayas and adds Bhagavata as the fourth. The Prasthanatrayas are Upanishads, Bhagavad Gita, Brahma Sutra, and the last he adds is Bhagavata. Whenever there is a doubt, earlier text should be interpreted taking the next one. That is, Upanishads should be interpreted whenever there is a doubt in Upanishads, it should be interpreted with the help of Bhagavad Gita, and whenever there is a doubt, it should be interpreted by Brahma Sutra, and whenever there is a doubt in Brahma Sutra, it should be interpreted with the help of Bhagavata. So, since the Bhagavata comes in the end, it is the principal work or treatises which is considered to be the highest by Vallabhacharya. Vallabhacharya accepts Krishna as the ultimate reality. It is equivalent to Brahman as narrated in the Upanishads. And he is also called Paramatman. Now, what you see in the picture is the Vallabhacharya explaining the Bhagavata Puranas to his disciples. He is Purushottama, the Supreme Person. He is the existence, consciousness, bliss. That is Sat Chit Ananda and sentient Rasa. This Rasa aspect is more important in Vallabha as well as in Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's philosophy. He possesses all qualities, even contradictory qualities. Ramanuja explains in his Vishishtadvaita that Lord Narayana contains all good qualities reside in him. He is called Purushottama. He has all good qualities, Sakala Kalyana Gunas. Now, in Vallabha we find a different interpretation. Vallabha's ultimate reality or Krishna possesses the contradictory qualities also. This he differs from Ramanuja like this. Though eternal and unchanging, he becomes all things through his powers of Maya Shakti. He is not different from the world which he creates. So for Vallabha, Krishna is real, world is also real. But the changes that occur in the world, the objects of the world, the external reality changes. The world and the worldly objects changes, but it does not affect Lord Krishna or the Brahman. He is not different from the souls which emanates from him. Vallabha teaches that the Supreme Brahman appears as the inner ruler, that is the Antaryamin, and the immutable Brahman, the Akshara Brahman. Brahman dwells in the souls as Antaryamin, limiting its bliss. Akshara Brahman also is a form where the bliss nature is limited. The wise meditate upon Akshara Brahman as their goal. The negative texts of scriptures apply only to Akshara. That is, Neti Neti Vada or any other text which narrates the nature of Brahman negatively, they refer only to Akshara Brahman, says Vallabha. The devotees look upon Akshara as the foot and abode of Lord Sri Krishna. Akshara is the foot, Sarana, the supreme abode, Paramadhaman or sky or Vyoman of the Supreme. That is, here the Akshara Brahman is considered or referred to or equated to the feet of the Lord. And the Lord Krishna is supposed to be the highest abode or Paramadhama. It appears as Prakriti and Purusha and becomes the cause of everything. It is also called the principal soul, Mukhya Jiva. It is superior to souls. That is, whatever may be the case, though the entire world and all souls are created or manifested from him, Lord Krishna is the supreme soul. He is the controller. He is the ultimate. He is the Paramatman or Purushottama. Here you see all the Akshara Brahman in the form of lotus feet. The lotus footprints of the Lord Krishna as depicted in the form of feet. In the beginning, God was alone and he desired to become many. As a consequence, he created the world out of mere pleasure as a sport or leela. Thus the world is a transformation of the very essence of God, that is Swarupa Parinamavada. Here there is no difference between any Bhakti school movement. All Bhakti school movements describe that the universe is merely a leela of the Lord. So it is a sport. In this process, God is not affected. He does not suffer any change within himself. This Vallabha calls Avikrita Parinama. Vikrita means change, Avikrita means there is no change. Though Parinama, we have to understand Parinamavada and Vivartavada. Parinamavada explains that the change is real. Whenever a change is there, the substance really changes. Milk is turning, or milk turns into curds. This is the standard example given in all textbooks. So whenever milk changes into curds, it is Parinamavada. Whenever rope appears as a snake, this is Vivartavada. It is only an appearance. The appearance is not real. It is an illusion. So Parinamavada and Vivartavada. Now Vallabha accepts Parinamavada, but this Parinama does not affect the Brahman. So this is a special variety of Parinama which is called Avikrita Parinamavada. The element of Sat is manifest in the world, while the other elements of Chit, consciousness, and Ananda, bliss, are latent. The world, Jagat, is not unreal or illusory, but is in fact non-different from Brahman. Samsara is unreal. It is consisting of the soul's notions of I and mine. It is this notion that has to be destroyed by knowledge, not the world. The soul is a part of Amsha of Brahman. It is eternal. At the beginning of the world creation, the souls issue out of the Akshara as sparks from fire. They are cognizers, agents, and experience. Here, regarding the Jagat, what the real contribution of Vallabha is, the samsara should be destroyed. Samsara is not real. Samsara is unreal. Unfortunately, everybody thinks that the entire world is Maya, the entire world is illusion, the entire world is appearance. It is not so. World remains as it is according to Vallabha. The samsara, which is actually due to soul's ignorance and due to soul's egoism, a feeling of I and mine, this is samsara, and this samsara is destroyed by the grace of the Lord. So, world remains same and world remains forever for others. But those who are graced by the Lord, for them world becomes, or rather world is the manifestation of Lord Krishna. The souls are atomic but pervade their bodies through their attributes of intelligence. In them, the Sat and Chit aspects are manifest, while Ananda aspect remains latent. There are three classes of souls. One is Pravaha, another is Maryada, last is Pushti. Here, Pravaha means a flow, that is the common people who are actually wallowed in the river of samsara. These people, they can never think of God or anybody. They are always suffering in the samsara. The next is Maryada, those who want to attain the feet of the Lord, but gradually. Gradually they can attain, that is, step by step they reach the lotus feet of Lord Krishna. But the fortunate or the lucky ones are Pushti Jivas, those who are graced, those who have had the Anugraha of Lord Krishna, and those who are very, very near to Lord Krishna. They are called Pushti Jivas. In Maryada Marga, release is obtained gradually. One has to advance step by step and go through the path of gods, Devayana, to the world of Brahma, and there attains release. The Pushti Marga yields immediate release because it depends entirely on the grace of God. The milkmaids of Vrindavana are the best examples of Pushti Marga. The highest stage of liberation is to join the Lord in his sport and enjoy his bliss eternally. The divine husband of all souls is Krishna. The Rasa Leela, the famous Rasa Leela, which is misinterpreted, misconceived by atheists, materialists, it is not so. In this Rasa Leela, each and every Gopika loves Lord Krishna and they don't want to separate from him. It is the pure love that unites them with the Lord Krishna and they enjoy the love that is called in Vallabha as prema. That prema attracts. It is not physical love or it is not something which is done with the ulterior base motive. It is the highest form of love where it is the hearts that binds the others. That is, all lovers, they love, that Gopikas, they love only the Lord Krishna and they don't want to be separated from him. They always live in and like to live forever with him and they forget themselves in that Rasa Leela or the ring dance. Brahman is the independent reality and is identified with Sri Krishna. His essence is the Sat Chit Ananda. Souls and matter are his real manifestations. They are his parts. He is the abode of all good qualities and includes even the seemingly contradictory qualities. He is one as well as many. It is by his will that he manifests himself as matter and as souls, revealing his tripartite nature of existence, knowledge and bliss in different proportions. He manifests himself as many through his powers of Maya. This manifestation is neither an error nor an illusion, it is a real manifestation. Here I want to stress that the entire world, it is not an error, it is not an illusion, it is a real transformation or manifestation of Lord Krishna in some other form. He manifests or he manifests himself in different forms for the benefit of the souls. So it can neither be an error nor an illusion. If it is an illusion, then nobody can understand. It should be real. So Vallabha stresses that the reality of the Supreme Brahman and his manifestation in different forms with his powers of Maya is also real. Vallabha's view is neither Vivarta nor Parinama. It is something between the two and is called Avikrita Parinamavada. The universe is not a Vivarta, for it is a real manifestation and not as unreal appearance. But it is also not a Parinama, for this manifestation does not involve any change or transformation. The universe is a natural emanation from God, which does not involve any notion of change and is therefore called Avikrita Parinama. The substance and its attributes, the cause and its effects are identical. The substance really appears as its attributes. At the same time, cause really appears as its effects. Vallabha prefers the expression Samavajikarana to denote the notion of the material cause. Brahman is a material and inherent cause of this universe and is also its efficient cause. Brahman really manifests himself as this universe without undergoing any change. It is pervaded by Brahman. The entire universe is his manifestation. It is emanated from the Brahman and it is real because Brahman is also real. Brahman creates the entire world for the sake of the souls. Creation means manifestation of God as this universe in multifarious forms without undergoing any change. God reveals his tripartite nature of existence, knowledge and bliss in different proportions in this manifestation. Dissolution means withdrawal of this manifestation by God within himself. The world emerges from him and merges into him. This is actually taken from Upanishads. God is from Brahman, everything emerges, and into Brahman, everything merges. This is the basic concept which is actually advocated in the Upanishads. God is the supreme Antaryamin, the inner ruler of the universe. In the material world only, the existent aspect of God is manifested, while his aspects of knowledge and bliss remain obscured. In the individual soul, the aspects of knowledge and existence are manifested, while the aspects of bliss remains obscured. In the Antaryamins, all the aspects are manifested. That is, in the world, one is obscured. With regard to souls, another aspect of Brahman is obscured, but now in Antaryamins, all the three are manifested. All these three forms, Jagat, Jiva and Antaryami, are essentially identical with God. Jagat is dissimilar to him, Vijatiya. Jivas are similar to him, Sajatiya. And Antaryamins are inside him, Swagata. So here what he says is, souls and world on one side and God on the other side, there is neither Sajatiya Bheda nor Vijatiya Bheda nor Swagata Bheda. But in Ramanuja's Vishishtadvaita, Ramanuja maintains among the difference between the God, Lord Narayana, Ishvara on one side and Chit and Achit on the other, they possess, God possesses or Ishvara possesses only Swagata Bheda, that is internal Bheda, internal change. There is neither homogeneous difference nor heterogeneous difference, only internal difference. But in Vallabha's philosophy, we find there is nothing of this sort. All the three, they do not apply to Vallabha's concept of Lord Krishna. He runs through all the forms which are non-different from him. There is no difference either homogeneous or heterogeneous or internal in God. Vallabha distinguishes between Jagat or Prapancha and Samsara. Jagat is the real manifestation of God, while Samsara or cycle of births and deaths is imagined by the souls on account of ignorance, which is fivefold. Ignorance of real nature of the soul, false identification with body, with the senses, with vital breaths and with the internal organ. Here the Vallabha actually explains that ignorance clouds the soul. The soul has bliss, but it is obscured by the ignorance. Ignorance obscures, ignorance covers the soul's knowledge. That is, it actually says that it covers the nature of the soul. It falsely identifies the soul with body, with the Pancha Pranas, that is Apana, Prana, Apana, Vyana, Udana and Samana, and the internal organ, mind or manas. That's why soul suffers in samsara. Vallabha says that from samsara, the soul should be released. That release can be had only through the anugraha portion or the grace of the Lord. Then, for Vallabha, the soul as a part of God is identical with him and appears as different on account of the limited manifestations of some divine aspects and obscuration of others. Bhakti, which is defined as a firm and all-surpassing affection, sneha, for God, with a full sense of his greatness, is the only means of salvation. It is the loving service of God. It means attachment to God, which presupposes detachment from all other things. Here, in all Indian philosophies, one can see that the desire should be towards God only. we should attach ourselves and detach ourselves. Attachment towards God, detachment towards worldly pleasures. If it is other way, then the detachment towards God and attachment towards world, the soul will be always ringing round the vicious circle of samsara. Now, to attain the lotus feet of Lord Krishna or to go near to Sri Krishna, there are two margas which are actually suggested or given by Sri Vallabha. One is Maryada Marga, another is Pushti Marga. In Maryada Marga, it is actually prescribed in the Vedas itself. In Maryada Marga, slowly the soul attains the mukti. Here also the mukti is up to the level of Akshara Brahman, says Vallabha. Next to Akshara Brahman, that is Lord Krishna is there. Lord Krishna's feet is Akshara Brahman. In Maryada Marga, we reach to a level only. In Pushti Marga, the Jiva immediately attains the nearness to God. This Pushti Marga is actually wrongly interpreted because in the Vedas also we find the name or in the term or the concept Pushti, where it is referred to as merely nourishment. People have misunderstood and then they have actually improved their body by eating lot of food and indulging in all such activities without knowing the significance of the term Pushti as advocated by Vallabha. Vallabha says in Sri Bhagavata, there is a particular definition which gives Poshanam Tad Anugraham. Pushti means Anugraha, the grace of the God, the grace of Brahman. Poshanam Tad Anugraham. When the grace descends, the soul becomes Pushti. It is a well-nourished soul with the Anugraha of the Lord. This is the real meaning, says Vallabha. Unfortunate, the Pushti Yoga is misinterpreted and then they have indulged in all types of physical pleasure or physical enjoyments. Now we come to Achintya Bheda of Chaitanya. The leader of Bengal Vaishnavism is Chaitanya, who lived in 15th century. Radha Krishna is the supreme reality, according to him. His teachings are to be found in a poem of 10 verses, Dasha Moola Shloka, ascribed to him. Jiva Goswami and Baladeva, among others, have expounded Chaitanya's philosophy in a systematic way. The most important work of Jiva Goswami is Sat Sandarbha, with a commentary by himself called Sarva Samvadini. Baladeva's Govinda Bhashya on the Brahma Sutra is quite a useful guide. The Upanishadic definition of Brahman as Sat Chitta Ananda is accepted by Chaitanya school, but Sat Chit Ananda Brahman is not a bare, distinctionless identity. He has an infinite number of Shaktis or powers which are supernormal, para, and inseparable from him. Of these, three are the main powers, namely Swarupa Shakti, Maya Shakti, and Jiva Shakti. The Lord's Swarupa Shakti, which is also called Chit Shakti, exists in him eternally and is responsible for all his leelas, sports, and hence it is his internal power, Antaranga Shakti. Corresponding to the three elements of God's nature, Sat, Chit, Ananda, there are three aspects of his Shakti, Sandhini, Samvit, and Hladini. This is nothing but Sat, Chit, Ananda in different forms. By these, he supports, knows, and enjoys his own as well as other beings' existence, consciousness, and bliss. What is known as pure being, Shuddha Sattva, is composed of these three Shaktis. It is called Shuddha because it is unmixed with Maya. Maya Shakti is the Lord's inconscient power which is responsible for the material universe. As it is inert, Jada, it is opposed to Chit Shakti and yet cannot function without its aid. It is God's external power, Bahiranga Shakti, and has two aspects, cosmic and individual, Gunamaya and Jivamaya. With this Gunamaya, Lord Krishna creates the world with Sattva, Rajas and Tamas. And with Jiva Maya, Jiva forgets its self-nature and indulges in all sorts of activities in samsara. God's Jiva Shakti forms the essence of finite souls and stands between the other two Shaktis. Besides being Sat Chit Ananda, God is Rasa, aesthetic sentiment, as well as Rasika, enjoyer of sentiment. It is for this reason that he is called Krishna. In him, felicity is perfect and complete. That is, here Sri Chaitanya gives a new dimension. God is not only Satya Chitta Ananda, he is an enjoyer of love and he is Rasa himself. He is the aesthetic beauty. He enjoys his own beauty as well as others. He works and he works for himself, he manifests himself and he manifests in all others and enjoys through them also. His Shakti is Radha, with whom he is united in love. Radha and Krishna are two in one, inseparably bound together. The Antaryamin is the immanent aspect of Krishna and is pervasive of the universe. Lower than that is the Nirvishesha Brahman, the distinctionless being, which is only an adjectival aspect of the Supreme. In between Krishna and Antaryamin, there are innumerable grades of Swarupa Shakti. At each level, the Divine Lord sports himself with its playmates who are all parts of him. So the entire universe is pervaded with Lord Krishna only. Krishna is immanent, Krishna is everywhere, Krishna is all pervasive. He enjoys in this world and that is his Leela. The universe has God as its material as well as efficient cause. Brahman is of the nature of the universe, but he is not exhausted by it. As we have already seen, the world is created by God through his Maya Shakti. He is, however, untouched by Maya, and so he is undefiled by the defects of the world. The world of nature provides the soul with a location, instruments and objects of enjoyment, etc. The souls are related to God as sparks to fire or as parts to a whole. They are knowers as well as doers. Although their power is derived from God, they are tentatively separated from God and are eternal. Even after release, they maintain their separateness. Their true joy consists in serving the Lord, Sevananda. Here, the souls cannot identify themselves at any point of time. Even after getting moksha or even by His grace, they cannot become one with God. They can never be identified with God. They can enjoy the grace of Lord by praising Him or by doing some service to God. They can never become one with God, which is opposed to the Advaitic concept of oneness. This is the relation that obtains between cause and effect, whole and part, possessor of power, Shaktimat, and power, Shakti. The relation is one of simultaneous differences and non-difference. This is, of course, inexplicable or incomprehensible, but that is a fact and cannot be denied. That is, the relationship between the soul and the God. World, soul and the God, they are different in one way and they are one in one way. There is identity and difference. There is difference and there is non-difference also. But this difference, non-difference cannot be explained in words. It is actually ineffable. It cannot be explained with any logic. So he says incomprehensible difference and non-difference. So achintya bheda bheda of, that is, the achintya bheda bheda means achintya is chinta or chintya means that which is thinkable. Achintya is actually just unthinkable. Unthinkable relationship that exists between God and souls. That is difference. It can either be different nor be non-different, but the relationship as it is cannot be explained in any language. So unthinkable difference and non-difference. So achintya bheda bheda. Chaitanya and his followers. The school of Bengal Vaishnavism of Chaitanya is known as Achintya Bheda Veda, or identity in difference, to be exact, unthinkable or incomprehensible identity in difference, the nature of which is essentially indescribable and unthinkable due to the unthinkable powers of God. Historically, the school is associated with Madhvism and is also called Madhva Gaudiya school. But on account of certain fundamental philosophical differences with Madhva, it should be regarded as an independent school. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu wrote no books. His disciples, Sri Rupa Goswami, has written Ujjvala Nilamani and Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. Sri Jiva Goswami has commented on both these works and has written his great work Sat Sandarbha together with his running commentary Sarva Samvadini. Baladeva Vidyabhushana have written a commentary on the Brahma Sutra called Govinda Bhashya, the introduction of which is known as Siddhanta Ratna. Rupa and Jiva and Baladeva have furnished philosophical basis for the teachings of Chaitanya, which are mainly based on the Bhagavata. Brahman or Sri Krishna is essentially Sachidananda and is the auspicious abode of infinite good qualities and powers. Here he follows Ramanuja closely. The attributes are identical with the substance, though they also appear differently. The concept of Vishesha is borrowed from Madhva to explain the unity which appears as different. The concept of unthinkability is accepted to reconcile the apparent contradictions in the nature of Brahman. God is free from all differences, homogeneous, heterogeneous and internal, and yet he really manifests himself as the world and the soul through his powers, which are identical and yet different from him. In himself, he is the efficient cause of the universe, while in association with his powers, he is the material cause. His inner power, which forms his essence, is called Antaranga Swarupa Shakti and manifests itself as threefold power: Sandhini, Samvit and Hladini. Sandhini, which is Sat aspect of existence; Samvit is the Chit aspect of the Lord; Hladini is the Ananda aspect of the Lord. The power through which he manifests himself in the form of atomic souls is called Tatastha Shakti or Jiva Shakti. The power through which he manifests himself as the material world is called Maya Shakti, and it is said to be his external power, that is Bahiranga Shakti. God as bliss is qualified, while all his powers are his qualifications or manifestations. The atomic souls are innumerable and remain distinct even in the liberation. They emanate from him like rays from the sun and are absolutely dependent on him. The world is the manifestation of his external power and is not false. The impurities or defects of the world do not affect him at all. In liberation, the wrong notions and the ignorance of the soul vanish through the world as the power of God remains. Bhakti is the sole means of liberation. It is of two kinds: Vidhi Bhakti, Ruchi Bhakti. Vidhi Bhakti is actually the rules and regulations, it is actually following the Vedas. This Ruchi Bhakti is completely affection, prema. These two are the two types of bhakti as narrated by Chaitanya's followers. To conclude, Shuddhadvaita Vallabha and Achintya Bheda Veda of Chaitanya represent the Neo-Vaishnava tradition. In other words, they represent the theistic form of Vedanta. The Supreme Lord for both the traditions is Lord Vishnu as incarnated in the form of Lord Krishna. Apparently, both Vallabha and Chaitanya propagated the Bhakti tradition. According to them, the way to attain the grace of the Lord is through devotion. There is no substitution to it. To summarize, or in short, Vallabha and Chaitanya, they belong to Bhakti school of thought. Both of them emphasize the Bhakti aspect. Without Bhakti, one cannot reach moksha. And this Bhakti should be graced by the Lord. Without the Anugraha or without the grace of the Lord, their Bhakti cannot be fruitful. One more important point is, in these two schools, they stress at times the separation from Lord. The Gopikas in the Vrindavana, though they enjoy the dance along with Krishna, sometimes they wanted to be away. That does not mean that they hate Lord Krishna or they wanted to be away from Lord Krishna. The separation, in the separation, the Gopikas feel or they wanted to have the love, the affection of the Lord, and they long it for more and more. That is the bhakti or the love or the prema, that is continuous flow of the devotee. For further details, please refer e-text. Thank you.